and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Also want to give double honors unto the apostle, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations unto the elect of Yasharahla, as well as the Akim out there enduring this truth across the four corners of the earth, preaching and prophesying through the spirit of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI in truth and sincerity, as well as the men and women that follow and those who might look like the other nation but are of the nation of Israel on their father's side by blood. And just wanted to get into a quick lesson. I was reading in Second Ezra, the 9th chapter earlier, and just when it got to the protesting, well, it says uproars of the people, and Salakia, either one, I guess. No, I'm about to move these. I always click on this on the etymology, trying to get to the scriptures. So, but yeah, when it speaks about the uproars of the people, and they got like a protest tracker, should be right here. Yeah. So yeah, they got like a protest tracker, right? And like it says, in the last 12 months, over 147 significant anti-government protests have erupted worldwide. In the last 12 months, more than 70 countries have experienced significant protests. Currently, there are 33 active protests. In the last 12 months, more than 25 significant protests have occurred in countries that are not free. So, we know Esau likes to play with numbers and everything, but for the most part, we do witness. Okay, I just didn't want to be going to get 50 articles and everything to bring out all of the different protests, but when you go down, you can see like different countries: Argentina, Bangladesh, Belgium, so on and so forth. But I wanted to, of course, deal with the U.S. just for now, because it just goes to show you that there's been an increase in protests. All right. Well, let me see where's the last. All right, so yeah, I go back to 2023, which they had 3, 4, 5. They had 5 protests in 2023, and as you can see over here, the different reasons for that. They only had 1 in 2024. Because at the end of the day, what people was seeking for was normalcy. Getting back to things being things getting back to being normal. All right, and it's never going to be the same, because as it says in Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, where did it go? Okay, here. I'm about to bring this down here. Just jump into that part real quick. Second Ezra 9 and 6. Even so, the times also of the highest had plain beginnings and wonders. And Salaki, I'm gonna go up one. It says, for verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the end manifest. We might have read about these different empires in the past who lost their power and came to ruins and came to naught for the most part. But we wasn't there in those empires in this incarnation, but in another incarnation, yeah, but we have no remembrance of it, as the scriptures say, of our past lives. So, but this one we are in, so we're seeing the downfall and the crumbling of a society, of a country, of an empire. All right, by way of judgment of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. Okay, just real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And at the end of the day, it all goes with the judgment of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. Okay? And that's what people in this society don't understand. See, when we read in the scriptures, it puts us in their time. We almost time travel in a sense. If you use any sense, you can, but if you put yourself in their shoes, you'll see, you know, um, speaking, let's just deal with John the Baptist. Not John the Baptist, John the Revelator. When he had the vision, all right, on the island of Patmos, and he had the vision of the MOTB. He's explaining it as best as he can in his time. And that's why it's a mystery. It's like a code, because in our present time, we have to unlock that code, right? By what we see, by what is manifested. He just seen people having something being inserted in their arm and them paying for goods, in exchange of their hand being scanned or their forehead being scanned. So with all these other camps, all these other Israelite groups, I would say, I don't see how you get Christianity or embargo or whatever out of the vision that he had. Like, that's is a pretty clear vision, you know. It's a pretty clear vision of what he was seeing if you see what's being manifested in these times and how they're pushing towards digital identity, digital currencies. All right. Safety, 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 as the scriptures speak about. When they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. So this is we're seeing the end manifest. All right. So now I'm gonna go back up just a little bit. It's at the top. And it says, 2nd Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the times diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, right? It says, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And he's visiting it because he's about to judge it. All right. That's why there's more and more chariot sightings. That's why people are becoming more and more violent, more and more short-tempered because of, which I'll get into in a little bit, the squeeze, the pressure, oppression. Okay, they're just going through so much. But the Lord already written these things from the beginning, the end from the beginning, as it tells you in Isaiah, the 46th chapter, in the 10th verse. The Lord already mapped all of this out. So what we're seeing is how the prophecies are going to come to pass. Like in Elder Yashawamba, a lesson I was watching earlier, he, one of the first things he said was, the end is starting to become more clear, and it's starting to become more clear of, who the devil is, the son of perdition. This man is showing his horns. So the end is being manifested. All right. It's just some choosing not to look. They closing their eyes on the scary part of the movie. So I just want to get this article real quick, and I probably won't read it all. There's more so a quote that I want to read within here. So it says, what are the Labor Day workers over billionaires protests? right? And that's what people are. People just fed up, man. They tired, you know. This is the as you can see, at least from this picture, the main people who out there. That's because they're not too distracted. Don't get me wrong. Some of our people are into a little bit of the politics and what's going on and what could happen to their neighborhoods and this and that, but most of our people just don't give a damn. They got twerk videos to put up. They got and that's just me just, being straightforward. They Some of the men, they got, hoods and shit that they gotta tend to, which is crazy because you don't own shit there. But that's the society that we live in. All right, that's the curses of our people. But it says, as Americans observe Labor Day, workers across the country are taking to the streets to protest President Donald Trump and other billionaires who they say are taking power away from the working class. And really taking a big hit with that big beautiful bill, right? It says the workers over billionaires protest led by the AFL-CIO, the nation's largest federation of unions, along with dozens of other organizations, kicked off on Monday a multi-day mobilization featuring some 1,000 rallies, picnics, marches, and other events. Advocates hope to amass momentum in supporting among workers against the Trump administration and a wealthier segment of Americans who stand to benefit the most from the president's policies. And that's what it is. The Lord is stirring up the spirit of Trump, just as he stirred up the spirit of Cyrus and other men, uh, good or bad, in the scriptures. But this is what the Lord does. He within his movie, he'll have, just like when you're watching a movie and you'll see one of them hot points, or the trailers. The trailers show you certain parts of the movie. Well, we seen some of the trailers when we read the scriptures, and it told us the things that will be happening in the last days, and it told us the things that we will be seeing. Right? It says every single thing working, people have won for ourselves in this country's history. It's not because we asked those in power, said Liz Schuler, president of the AFL-CIO, in a State of the Union address last week. It's not because they were handed to us. It's because we fought for them relentlessly, she said. Now you can see that you pretty much got to fight for your rights. You got to protest. You got to do these gatherings and rally together, so on and so forth, which it speaks about in the scriptures, uproars of the people. Okay? It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, going back to 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Right? Because it's already written. It's already written. Now it's just playing out. It's manifesting itself. Okay? And that's why when we read in these scriptures, it's like these things have to come to pass, or else it makes the Heavenly Father a liar, which is he's not a power that should lie. Okay? He said his word doesn't go out void, meaning he say what he mean, and what he mean is going to happen. Okay? So, get a little bit. I think it was another quote in here, but as you can see, she said, they pretty much they gotta fight for it. It ain't no just okay. Well, we sit around and just hope that these people, um, in the sense of the government or the ones in power, the ones who have the money, that they come to their senses. No, it's not gonna work, man. Okay. That's what she's saying. It ain't gonna work. She's saying we gotta rally together and we gotta protest. We gotta fight for our rights. Okay. Um, I'll leave the article in the description. There's another part that I want to get. Oh, kind. Because this is under what are they protesting, right? And well, I'll read this. It says advocates are rallying against a billionaire takeover, quote unquote, in government, criticizing corporate influence along with what many activists label as authoritarian policies, including the targeting of immigrant workers and the deployment of military forces in Washington, D.C., since they're not happy with that. All right. It's important to show that there is opposition to the Trump billionaire agenda in every community, big and small. It's not just cities that are united against what's happening. It's all towns. It's small towns that voted overwhelmingly for Trump, right? Um, yeah, and that's another thing. A lot of these people who voted for him is like, yo, we didn't sign up for this. But at the end of the day, your vote don't count. All right. It says the Mayday Strong Coalition wrote on its website a list of 5 demands. Yep, they are making, including the protection of Medicaid, Social Security, and other programs for working people, an end to the attacks of immigrants and communities of color, and for the full funding of schools, healthcare, and housing for all. In response to NBC News questions about workers over billionaires, the White House did not directly address the protests, but spokesperson Taylor Rogers said in a statement that no one has done more for working men and women than President Trump. So they'll just do little things here, and at the end of the day, um, what's going on is more and more of this is going to happen. They're going to keep passing laws. Certain people are going to catch on. Certain people are going to continue to protest, or more people are going to join in on the protest. All right. And then eventually the bubble is going to pop, where it's going to get too hot to where these military troops that they are bringing in, all right, are going to have to do something. They're going to have to defend someone or themselves. But the scriptures speak about the enemy coming in like a flood, all right, meaning martial law. I mean, it's problem, reaction, solution. They're making all these laws, getting people roused up, all right, making people feel the squeeze, you know. Um, where is that at? Yeah, the squeeze, in the sense of, if it comes up, maybe, maybe not. All right. Yeah, well, it just says it right here. It says a situation that causes feelings or stress and pressure. Because I remember seeing, uh, look right here, to press something firmly, especially from all sides, in order to change its shape, reduce its size, or remove liquid from it. You know, and at the end of the day, that's what's happening to people's livelihood, their mind. They're just being pressed, and it's causing them to stress and just really. Well, you see these people crashing out on the internet. You know, man, I can't believe this is just this, and I'm paying this, and this much, this going up, and I gotta pay this, and I gotta choose between healthcare and food on my table, and I'm staying in the storage, I'm staying in my car, I'm everybody. So, what it's gonna just hit everybody at a point in time. But these are part of those tribulations. Yeah. All right. It says Matthews 4:21, Salakia, Matthews 24:21. It says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Right? So when you go into that word tribulation, you'll see what it's talking about when it comes to that squeeze. Right? So it says a pressing together, pressure, metaphor, oppression, affliction, tribulation, distress, and straits. All right. Burden, anguish, persecution, trouble, tribulation. All of that's what's going on. And it's not even really hit yet. People are just starting to feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you got a one of them pecan crackers, and you go to squeeze a pecan, and it, you hear the shell crack a little bit. That's what's starting to happen to people. It don't fully break, but it starts to break. There's a split in it. And eventually, the more pressure that get puts on it, of course, it just busts open. All right. So just going over this just real quick. Um, like I said, it seemed like you had like 5 protests in 2023. Well, let's go to the golden year. This is where the huge change happened at. Yeah, so you had 4 during that 2020 situation. Then remember this in 2022, everybody going all in. Look at that. It's say about 10,000 people. It lasted about 3 months. And that was all just so they can pretty much, they wanted to do what they wanted to do as far as women. 2023 looked like that kind of carried over. You had 5 in 2023. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had 1 in 2024. And so far in 2025, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6. So it's up. It's up by it's up by 5 compared to 2024, but up by 1 2023. But nonetheless, let me see if oh yeah, back there. You see the difference as far as political or gender, economy, corruption, the sea situation. Because at the end of the day, people are just tired. They're fed up, They about ready to break. And eventually, what's going to happen is matters are going to continue to get worse. All right. And those military troops are going to treat everybody, all citizens, how they're treating the communities of color, I would say. So I'm going to read a little bit here and I'm going to go ahead and close out. I'm going to go back to 5 because that's what's going on. This is 2nd Ezra 9 and 5. For like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And that's why things are the way that they are. It's just everybody is just so fed up and just tired and drained, It says, even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. And you'll start to see. You're seeing part of it now with a lot of the chariots showing up, more and more chariots showing up. Okay? It says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. And a lot of people are going to be deleted in their unfaithfulness because they don't trust nor believe in YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, man. Okay? They rather work in darkness so they don't have to be corrected in the light. It said, whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. And you can put that up with Ephesians, the 1st chapter, where it speaks about people being predestinated. Everybody that's going to be saved is already written to be saved. We just don't know who those people are, right? It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. The ones who rejected the word, the ones who had the word and didn't teach the truth, they was leading, our own people to the slaughter and fattening themselves with the Lord's sheep. All right, i.e., teaching deceitfully, or that it sold out and took a bag. 2/3, they didn't want to listen. They, found themselves fighting against the Most High, thinking that they was fighting against us. All right. It says, for such as in their life have received benefits that have not known me. Yeah, you breathing, you still got something to eat, you got clothes, you got a car, you doing whatever little extra stuff you doing, and that's the Lord. You receiving benefits of the Lord, but you haven't known them. You thinking you doing all of that by your own power, man. Okay? It says, and they that have loathed my law hated it, right? While they had yet liberty. That's what America gives our people and every people. Okay? You don't have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI to your best ability if you living in America. Okay? It says, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, he sent out his prophets to give people warning. All right, to let them know what's coming, so the Israelites can repent, come back to the Heavenly Father. It says, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after being deleted, after death by pain. So that's the judgment of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. Because that tribulation like never before, a time like never before, is Jacob's trouble. These times. All right, it's the end all be all. This the last hoorah, and the Lord is allowing the basest of men, Esau, to rule in these last times, and He's going to judge him and then set up the Israelites being joint heirs with YAHAWASHI. The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans will be ruling next, man. Same people that all these nations stepped on and oppressed and walked over and treated like they was nothing, but you forgot that we're more than you. We're the apple of the Most High's eye, man. We're His people. We're His children, and you messed with His children, so judgment is coming upon this place, right? So with that, Lord willing, you was edified, and Lord willing, we allowed to endure unto the end. Once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, Shalom.